Duet Night Abyss is the fresh new gacha game that's got everyone talking. It came out a few weeks ago. I played it and it's surprising in many ways. I've only played one gacha in its 1.0 state before, and that was Hawkeye Star Rail. The story kind of bored me and I wasn't a fan of the combat, so I dropped it. That was the only one I've been to, but I've heard horror stories about other 1.0 experiences, like the glitchy mess that Wuthering Waves was, along with its not very interesting story and storytelling. I've also heard Black Beacon and Stellsora have been disasters at launch. Based on those stories and the experience I had, I was pretty worried about this and had two expectations. One, the story would be mediocre at best, and two, there would be a ton of optimization issues and glitches. Did my expectations end up being met? Yes and no, because the story was actually better than I thought, but in terms of optimization, I got exactly what I expected. Let's start with the story. Most people gravitated towards this game because of the no 50-50 system, but I was mainly interested that they said this would be a dual narrative. AKA, instead of picking two MCs, you pick between four, play as two of them, and they both have separate stories. The Fox Hunter story and the Girl in the Dream story. To differentiate them better, I picked the man for the Fox Hunter story and a woman for the Girl in the Dream story. It's like two stories in one, and if there's one thing to know about me, I mainly play gacha for the story, so this immediately got my attention. Like I said, the story pleasantly surprised me. It's one of the better 1.0 stories I've seen in a gacha game, especially Chapter 2. The Fantasia reveal was cinema, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start from the beginning. When I first started this story, I thought this would be a quick 2 to 3 hour experience. I know, it's very naive of me to assume a gacha story would be short. Even then, I wouldn't have expected this to be 10 to 13 hours long, my goodness. Chapter 1 focuses on Psyche in the Hypnos house, and besides a few parts that were slow and they could cut out, this chapter was pretty solid. I enjoyed it, and I was impressed that it had some emotional scenes that actually hit me. It was revealed Psyche had a terminal illness. The walk with Psyche gave me Honkai Impact Chapter 17 vibes, and if you give me Chapter 17 vibes in Chapter 1, you're doing something right. The other moment that hit was when Henrik said Psyche reminded him of his daughter that he killed. It sounds morbid, but I promise it's sweet in context. Psyche died at the end. They ended up doing a cliche where she's not really dead and we can get her back. But even with the cliche, I ended up enjoying the chapter a lot. They showed her whole backstory and had a whole mourning scene for her. It was nice. I was afraid Chapter 2 would not be as good, but it was better. Chapter 2 focused on the Charon murders. This simple whodunit mystery spirals into something bigger than anybody could imagine, aka my favorite type of mystery, so they already get points for that. Blues and Fantasio's story is the best this game has to offer. We found the 13th Legion were doing illegal experiments on both of them, turning them into monsters. We followed the story of them escaping, and it was amazing. They set up this whole puppet theater hideout in the sewers. It's really cool. I really like that they don't stray away from dark themes. I feel like it made me get invested into the characters and world quicker. Like Chapter 1, they tried to pull off emotional moments, and again, they pulled it off surprisingly well. I've read some comments of people saying they cried to the Fantasio twist, and for 1.0 and Chapter 2, that's pretty impressive. Speaking of the Fantasio twist, that was an incredible misdirection. The entire chapter you're thinking Blues is the culprit since he's been brought up so many times. At least I did. You find the culprit, he says he's Blues, and you think you've called it, but at the end of the chapter, you find out Blues was dead the whole time, and Fantasio was acting as Blues to protect his sister, Rhythm, because that was Blues' dying wish. Cinema. Absolute cinema. It was great. He went out with a bang, too. He got a song and everything. I also really like the characters of the Fox Hunter story. They're fun. I like Snow. I was worried when I saw she was tiny and had white hair like a certain other companion character, but she's not annoying. She's the comedic relief character, and I laughed at a few jokes of hers from time to time. Where she really shines is with Outsider. Those two are really funny together. Speaking of Outsider, I love him. He's the GOAT. One of my favorites along with Psyche and Fantasio. He showed immediate support for the MC after Psyche's death, and even though he's only been around for 2 chapters, you can tell he's one of those friends that will stick it out with you till the end, no matter what. By the way, he doesn't have a name yet, it's just Outsider. Maybe in 1.1 he'll finally get a name, but for now, he's just Outsider. Rhythm's cool too. She's kinda like Phoebe in Wuthering Waves, where she's part of the Legion following their orders, but over time starts to question things and form her own thoughts and opinions, and ends up leaving the Legion, which was very satisfying. The MC doesn't feel like a self-insert either. There's a small character arc in chapter 2 where the MC tries so hard to hate Rhythm because of Psyche, but in the end realizes that he doesn't hate Rhythm, he hates the 13th Legion and their corrupt rules. It was a short but sweet character arc, proving he really cares about Psyche and that he has his own thoughts as well. What I'm trying to say is that I really enjoyed the Fox Hunter story. Both chapters were really good. I was impressed with what it did multiple times. It's surprisingly deep, and I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the Girl in the Dream story. We only have 1 chapter for this story so far, and I think it's alright. It's definitely not as good as the Fox Hunter story, but there are still some parts I liked. I will give it this. It's an entirely different story with new characters, which I didn't expect. Half of me thought it was going to be a different perspective of the Fox Hunter story with the same characters, so I was pleasantly surprised. The Lonza Fortress was the worst part because I couldn't get into it, I didn't find it interesting, I couldn't get immersed, which is not that great because this chapter's main focus is on the Lonza Fortress. I was done with the Lonza Fortress section by the 30-minute mark, but it went on for another 2 hours. The Katya scene was kinda unnecessary because nothing happened, she just went to prison. Kinda hoping she comes back because otherwise I don't see the point in including this scene. It's just a time waster. It got better after the MC and Daphne went into the sewers, but overall it was alright. The interrogation scene was nice, but then I got annoyed when this woman brought out the hypnosis agent and tried to beat the truth out of me. Lady, I get that you want the truth, but I told you everything I know. Do you think I'm lying? I liked Avar and Daphne a lot. The story was pretty sad, another emotional moment that surprisingly worked. The chapter ends with Avar's death, making the MC the only person Daphne has out here, which is heartbreaking and really made me care for her. Daphne ends up in Sybil's care, which I didn't like because I love Daphne, but it's understandable considering we're deteriorated. Speaking of deteriorating, that's the other thing I really liked. We play as someone who's deteriorating, which means the same as corruption in Nikke or the Harbinger in Wuthering Waves. It does not play a huge role in this chapter, I imagine it will later on, but right now it's just an annoying gnat in our head telling us to kill everything. There is one choice where you can choose to succumb to the voices, and if you do, this very cool cutscene plays out where you go psycho and murder everyone. It shows how bad deterioration is, makes me glad we left Daphne behind, and makes me really curious about how we are going to handle this in the future. We're playing as a 13th Legion member, which is interesting. We're playing the evil side. I'm curious where this will lead. That's about it. Not as good as the Fox Hunter story, but it has potential, and I hope Chapter 2 is better. Why does every blonde man in gacha games have that hairstyle? It's always that exact hairstyle. There is a overarching story. It's not just random adventures like I've been making it out to be. We do have goals, particularly the Fox Hunter MC, and so far it's okay. Mainly because this is where most of the gacha story checkboxes are marked off. We have amnesia, we don't know who we are, we had a best friend but we got separated and went to far off lands. Yeah, it's gonna take about 8 chapters in 7 years. That's usually how these things go, don't they? It's something we've seen in these games a million times before. What makes this interesting though is that the best friend is actually a super important person that the 13th Legion has been searching for over a decade, called Number Zero, and our goal is to get her back. That's all we have for now, but judging on where both stories ended, we will learn more about her in 1.1, which I'm excited about. It's pretty obvious both stories will interconnect at some point. As of now, it's just little references to the other story, but I guarantee they will both meet up at some point. It already kinda happened with the Fox Hunter MC dreaming about the other MC every night, which is interesting because she's on the evil team. Why is he dreaming about her? They both dream about the Sand Realm, which is also intriguing because we don't know what that's supposed to mean yet. Overall, I got a pleasant surprise when it came to the story of this game, and I'm already really looking forward to the next chapters, which is fantastic for debut launch. I've yapped about the story long enough. Let's talk about the bugs in optimization, because it is exactly what I expected. This is definitely leaning towards the buggier side of 1.0 gacha. I wasn't there on Wuthering Waves' launch, so I can't testify if it's worse than that, but it's certainly an issue. Especially some bugs they can get game-breaking. Starting with bugs and issues in the story, the lip sync of the characters are off, and in some cases they just don't move their mouths, which is very weird when they're speaking. I wanted to get emotional during Psyche's death scene, but I couldn't because there's an idle animation for the characters, and so, during that entire scene that's supposed to be serious and sad, they were moving like NPCs, and I couldn't take it seriously. The character expressions also need some work. Psyche had a tearful voice in her death scene, but her expression was completely blank. This is also a problem in Chapter 2, so I hope the characters are more expressive in the future. Now, non-story bugs. I will say I am very happy with the communication of the devs. They update the game with hot fixes almost every day. They have already fixed some of the bugs I had issues with. It would lag every time you would teleport anywhere, anytime you would finish a story quest. It even got to the point where it would lag when I pressed the attack button. I had to take a 2-day break from the story because I reached a boss that I could not beat because of the lag. Fortunately, it no longer does any of that. It's a lot smoother of an experience, which is great. Climbing was also fixed. It originally sucked and you couldn't climb anything but a straight wall. Hope you don't like me climbing all over your walls. I promise I'm trying to get up to you. I'm not trying to dirty up your walls. It's just The climbing mechanics in this game need some work, but now you can climb up more rocky terrain. As for the things they have not fixed yet, when you open up the map, there's a constant ticking noise. If you plan to record this game on OBS, beware, because when this game lags, it crashes OBS too. I don't know if that was just me, but I had to keep restarting my recording, and now I have a ton of extra files that I don't need, and it's a tad irritating. The controller support on this game doesn't work that well. Random buttons just stop working like the helix jump. Even important ones like the button to get to all of the menus and even the attack button. Sometimes I have to press X 3 times for it to start working. Co-op is the buggiest thing in this game. It used to lag a lot in commissions with other people. They fixed that, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. When you go into the main area of Ice Lake, co-op mode will automatically turn on, and you can see the other people in your server. Sounds like a cool idea on paper, but the first time I played this game, there was so much going on. Even now, it still lags, especially when you enter the character screen in this area. Oh, hey Sabrina. Are you just gonna chill here? Okay, cool. The co-op's still a mess. Sabrina, I'm glad you were here for this. This was a great moment. This one's a little specific, but when a wave ends while your character is moving in an elevator, it just deletes the world entirely and you're stuck floating in a blue void. There's a lot of issues they need to kink out, but I'll still support them because, like I said, they have been updating, hotfixing, and giving us compensation rewards almost every day. They have been very active in the community, and looking at the global launch stream, it's obvious they really care about the game and want it to be the best it can be. So I still support them and hope all this will get patched in 1.1. Before I end this video, I want to talk about the removal of the 50-50 system. This is something that took the gacha community by storm because it was very different from any gachas that are popular today. To be honest, when I first heard about it, I didn't know what it even meant for the game. I didn't know how they would remove the 50-50 system, but now that I played the game, I can say with full confidence that this is my favorite change a gacha game has made. I may be dramatic, but I'm serious. All characters and weapons in this game are free. All you have to do is grind commissions for them, and there's no stamina system, so you can grind as long as you'd like, so you can get as many materials and level them up as much as you'd like. I think that's a massive W. There's so much freedom in that, and it makes me motivated to do things I've never done before. For example, I've never done endgame or grind before in gacha games. I didn't see the point of it. Grinding is too annoyingly restrictive for my tastes. I'm trying to get materials to level up my characters to get better at your game. Why are you restricting me? I know endgame gives you extra rewards and extra currency for the gacha, but that's what I do main story and exploration for, and why would I go the extra mile if there's still only a 50% chance I'll get the character? Plus, endgame is very hard. I've heard people spend hours on one hologram. I'm good. In this game, both of these problems are solved. I can grind however long I please, and you're telling me that if I do this endgame, I have a guaranteed chance to get Psyche and her weapon? Heck yeah, now it feels like I'm working towards something. Now I feel rewarded for my efforts. Plus, the grind is easy. Every commission only takes you 5 to 8 minutes, sometimes even less. It's awesome. I love this new no 50-50 system. There still is gacha, but it's only for skins, which I also feel like that's a great way to handle monetization of your game so you can still make a profit. It doesn't power scale or give you extra benefits that no one else has, it's just a cool skin you can show off. People who don't care about skins like me will never use it, but people who like skins can still whale and make the game money. It's genius. I hope they continue this format in the future because I am totally in love with it. Those are all my thoughts on the game right now. I really like it. This is one of the better launches to a gacha game I've seen. The story is great, no 50-50 is wonderful. The only part of the game that is bad is all of the bugs and optimization issues, but they have been very diligent in patching those, so I hope that's not a problem for long. What are your thoughts on the game? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to see more reviews and lore breakdowns of gacha games, like the video and subscribe. I do this all the time. I will see you in the next video.